We are, we are what 4 or 5 months from the release of ISO 9001 2015. It was October, wasn't it?
Was September, October of last year.
Yeah,
so
okay.
we're about 4 or 5 months into 2015.
Okay, and I think it's safe to say that people are still trying to get a feel for, I don't know, among other things, who is responsible for what within the ISO 9001 2015 process, and particularly top management, who, according to the new version of the standard, are, quote, accountable for the quality management system. And what does that mean anyway? What is accountability? And what, if any, changes is that accountability going to mean for leadership? So here to discuss that with us is Chad Kymal of Omnex. Hi, Chad.
Hi, Dirk. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. How are you? Caught you off guard there. Sorry about that. Caught me off guard. So let's just really briefly, how do you feel expectations for management is different in ISO 9001 2015 than it was from ISO 9001 2008?
Well, if you look at 2008, there was a 5.1 management commitment, and top management didn't really have to, they were not accountable, for the quality management system's effectiveness. They actually could do it by, helping write the quality policy, being in the management review, and communicating the importance of meeting customer and regulatory requirements. But in ISO 9001 2015, the leadership starts out by saying top management is accountable for the effectiveness of the quality management system. It says more than that. But to summarize, so they are accountable. In the end of the day, they have to be responsible and accountable for the effectiveness. And I like the new standard, I have to say.
Okay, hey, Chad,
many different places, it's looking for effectiveness, results of outcomes.
And Chad, just before we continue, can you check to see if your video camera's turned on there?
I was wondering myself.
That way we can.
That's. Oh, there it is.
Hey, that's technology for you.
Yeah, that's always. Well, Chad, while you're doing that, I want to ask you this. Maybe we can multitask. We're just talking about this. But I want to ask you about integration, because this is a key thing you were talking about in your article that I think also is important, is this idea that ISO 9001 2015, ISO 14001 2015, and the new standard that evolved out of OSHA, occupational health and safety, which is ISO 45001. All these really, they're intended to kind of work together in a certain way. So how do you integrate those things when you look at managing your management system?
As you all know, I wrote an article. I wrote a book. Oh, there it is. Let me show myself properly here.
There we go.
Great. So, I wrote this book for ASQ last year, which is, by the way, doing wonderfully well. And the timing was very perfect in terms of people trying to move towards integrated management systems. And lo and behold, what happened? The standards are all adopting a high-level structure, and ISO 9001 and 14001 and 45001, which is all the new I 18001, are all suddenly very similar. So all of them have these words. Let me just pick up the standard and read you the words that's in every one of those standards. And in leadership, it says, integration of the quality management system requirements or environmental management system requirements or health and safety management requirements, depending on your standard, and says into the organization's business processes. So de facto, the high-level structure is asking for integrated management systems. So I thought this is such a very important that companies around the world should know that the standard itself is asking leadership to integrate the requirements into one set of business processes, which is one of the parts of integrated management systems. If you read the book, I mentioned they should do integrated risk, and also integrated audits. But definitely a very important ingredient is integrated business processes.
Well, if we kind of take those two things we were just talking about, accountability and this integration across multiple standards, if your company has multiple standards, how is this going to affect leadership? Is this really changing the way top management is controlling or leading the QMS effort within the company?
Yes, starts out with this word: top management is accountable for the QMS. And those are very important words. The second thing it tells us, that the standard also says, is they have to support subordinates. They have to really be helping subordinates, try to meet the effectiveness of the quality management system. Suddenly they have a very important role as both a promoter of effectiveness and also so they have to take the role of promoting risk-based thinking, process approach, and of course also ensuring the effectiveness of the quality management system. No longer can they say, talk to my VP of quality or director of quality when asked pertinent high-level questions regarding the management system. So I think things have changed.
So the idea of accountability, perhaps, even though the standard doesn't really spell it out, the word accountability is fairly pointed, and maybe what it's saying, perhaps, is that kind of the buck stops there. If something is going wrong with your QMS, it is going to be top management who's going to be held responsible, or should be held responsible in any case. Would you agree with that?
I don't think they'll get if something doesn't work well. It's not that they're going to get a non-conformance. It's if they don't really know how well the QMS is performing, if they don't understand the process approach, or even the process. Let's say they have a process map, they don't know it, or they don't know where customer satisfaction stands, or or they don't have, let's say, really countermeasures planned or action plan to improve things aren't working well. And if they look like they just don't have the wherewithal, then there's a problem. They really haven't really understood their role, and they're not being accountable for the quality management system or environmental management system or the health and safety management system. The standards now for all three of those have squarely placed it in top management's lap.
Okay. So if I got to point out that next week we're actually going to be talking a lot more about the role of top management in the new 2015 standards. It's going to be Omnex and Quality Digest. I'm going to be host, and Chad is going to be the knowledge expert. And the name of the webinar is Learn About Expanding the Role of Top Management in the 2015 Standards, which occurs on Thursday, February 11th, 2016 at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And as I said, Chad will be there to lead it, and I'll be there to make them look good.
That's right.
So Chad, thanks for joining us this afternoon, and we'll be seeing you next Tuesday at the webinar.
Yes, and it was great talking to you guys, and talk to you again soon.
Okay, thanks, Chad.
Thanks, Chad. Have a great weekend. Yeah, it's going to be a good webinar, Dirk. You and Chad have done a few of these together over the past couple of months, year or so. Yeah. So this will be a good one. Yeah, I think it's an important issue. I think a lot of you out there have expressed questions. A lot of our users of the standards and how these standards work together and how management.
Well, and accountability is. I was just discussing this with one of the members of the TAG. Is accountability is somewhat of a loaded term, and she was saying that she thinks ISO, the developers of the standard, put that word in there on purpose, deliberately to make a loaded term. I mean, you could have said responsible, but accountable and responsible, kind of two different things.
A little different context.
A little different context, and I think that word has caught some people's attention, and now they're kind of wondering, what does this mean?
Yeah. So anyway, tune in for that. Again, it's next Thursday, 6 days from now. It's the 11th of February, and again, you'll see right there the role of leadership in ISO 9001:2015. And ISO 14000:2015. webinar, and it's going to be on Thursday the 11th at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Dirk and Chad, keep an eye on your email as always for information about that. Also, there's a link in Chad's article down below. Chad's article is on this landing page, so you can read Chad's article, which ran yesterday in Quality Digest Daily, and link out to register for the webinar right there. So
there you go.
Check it out.
Well, that is our show for today.